So a basic income is a periodic cash payment, which is unconditionally delivered to everyone on an individual basis. So the important thing is that it's universal, so anyone would get it. So poor people, rich people, it doesn't matter, and it's not been tested. So if you think that automation is coming and that most of the economy will become automated, then the question becomes how do you deal with that? Because it means that unemployment is going to stay. So there we need a solution for that. So basic income can be a really good solution because it would enable people to retrain and adapt to an economy in which their jobs have been automated, because with the income they get from basic income, they will have time to learn new skills, to learn a new job, and then become employable in a knowledge intensive economy with lots of AI. That's one version. Another version, more pessimistic, would be to say if there are going to be less jobs anyway, so okay, some people are going to be able to retrain and find new jobs. That's fine. But more importantly, perhaps through basic income, a lot of people who will never work again will be able to live, let's say, to have a good life, or to be able to live normally. So we need it. So those were the debates connecting automation, AI, and basic income. The thing is that recently, with two things, let's say the development of caring jobs, and we've seen that with COVID, like hospitals and so on. We see that we need a lot of jobs that are about dealing and with people and having human interactions with people, and you cannot really automate that. So this is why now some people are being more critical about this idea of automation. And the second thing is the whole debate around moving towards a green economy. Green economy would involve a lot of investment in infrastructure, an energy transition with lots of solar panels, lots of wind turbines. So we would need many workers, many people working to do that. Of course, there would be also some industrial processes that can be automated, but also people working in those. And also, and perhaps more strikingly, there is a whole discourse in connection to the green economy with this notion of relocation and having more authentic and less problematic forms of work for the environment. What COVID has shown, very importantly, is that a lot of the discussions around the fact that basic income is not feasible because it's too expensive, and that basic income is not a good thing because it will disincentivize people from working, that it will not encourage people from working, and that it will push them towards negative social activities, which goes back to in fact a theological and moral argument around the fact that work would make people better and more ethical. So this well, the COVID has shown that this is not the case. So I'm going to start with the economic one and then the moral one. So the economic one, we've seen that basically we can do it economically, that perhaps half of the economy was furloughed in a country like the UK, and the country could afford it. So it's possible to fund large-scale programs. So basic income becomes becomes something that becomes realistic, either through direct state intervention, as was done with furloughing, or some people have discussed around economic theories that would enable larger state intervention. Then in terms of the moral argument and so on, we've seen that furloughing has worked. So if people stop working for some time, or doing other things, or perhaps engaging in hybrid work, it's not a problem. They don't become unethical subject somehow. No, we've seen that it can be achieved. So then also goes back to the moral argument of basic income. It shows that empirically it doesn't seem to be a problem. The last point that I would add is that also we've seen that a lot of people are refusing to go back to work now. For example, in hospitality and restaurants and so on, with the quasi basic income programs like helicopter money in the US, for example, where everyone would receive a check from the government. So it shows that basic income can have something like basic income would have a practical impact on the economy and the labor market, because other people also were just skeptical that it would change anything. So if we are going towards a world in which lots of jobs are really going to be automated, and this is a strong possibility. Many economists still think it will be the case. Then it is the interest of organizations to make sure this transition takes place smoothly. They don't want to be in a situation where you have a social crisis, or you have massive levels of unemployment. This needs to be managed in a rational way. So if this is the case, then it's the interest of businesses and organizations to manage that transition, and therefore basic income becomes something sensible to do. Also, it's the interest of many organizations and of, let's say, the economy, and so most organizations, therefore, to have any more innovation, and basic income can help with that. So from that perspective, it would be something positive from them, for them also. What, of course, is a challenge from the perspective of corporations or organizations is how to fund it. So if they more taxes have to be raised to fund basic income, this would be a challenge for corporations and organizations. Even though I must add that this is another discussion: who needs to pay for it? It would not necessarily be corporations or organizations. The money could be raised differently through taxing resources that are not linked to organizations. But this is I would say separate. So some variations of basic income, which are not really basic income, but clearly look like basic income, already exist. So you have in Alaska, so every citizen of Alaska receives a check from the government. Helicopter money in the US was another example, which is very close. In Italy, they have a citizen's income, which is not a basic income. It's means tested, but it's not very far away. So you have a number of things around. I would say the debate is not going to disappear. So it's a real possibility out there. And now we know that it's possible to fund it. The question mark is politicization around it, to push for it. We will see, but I would say it's not absolutely unlikely it happens. There will be pushes towards it. There will be pushback also. I would say it's on the agenda, and we will see what happens. I hope we go in this direction because it would be beneficial. It would be beneficial, in fact, for most stakeholders in our society.